Welcome in, everyone. 8:05. Taking a look from our SkyTrack camera network at a pretty sight downtown Louisville skyline and a clear, darkening Tuesday night sky. Going to talk a little bit of weather, of course, over the course of the evening. So make sure you stick around for that. We always let you know this is just sort of, a nice catch up if you're joining us here for Wave News Extra in the Wave Now studio. But, whenever we do have those live guests come in from the storm tracking team, they're the ones to break things down for you. It's been a relatively quiet Tuesday so far, but how are things going to look as we keep moving forward in the week? Well, they're going to be the ones to break that down for you. Here in the Wave Now studio for tonight's Wave News Extra, I'm Jose Sosaya. As always, we're here to kind of break down the big stories of the day, some exclusives if you're joining us on the stream, whether that's through the Wave Now app or on our social media. A lot of interesting interviews and conversations we do offer on this platform for you to check in, look into some of the work, the discussions and conversations we're having, and generally at the top of the hour, so looking at the clock again, 8:06. This is where we dedicate our time to unpack, unwind some of the bigger stories of the day. A lot of these investigations and updates that our reporting team has been looking into and sharing that with you as soon as they're able to get that information, put it together, get the requisite video, interviews, the sound and reactions from people who are in the middle of these stories as they're happening here in our community. We're going to start with one of a trial that's now in full swing. It's a man who's accused of killing a Louisville paving and construction worker and then also shooting an off-duty LMPD officer. Well, today, that officer who was shot took the stand describing the moment that he was shot in the face. This was something that our Fernando Garcia Francischini was working on this afternoon. Keyshawn Stewart is charged with murdering Fred O'Bannon. He's also charged with trying to kill LMPD Sergeant Chris Lane. The shooting happened in 2021 on the Watterson Expressway. As you can going over some of the details here. Sergeant Lane shared in court today he was doing off-duty work for paving and construction, and that's the company O'Bannon worked for. He was the other man who the suspect prosecutors say that he shot and killed that morning. Sergeant Lane told the jury his job that day was standing by an on-ramp to the Watterson Expressway to prevent traffic from entering a construction area. It was around 2:30 in the morning, November 19th of 2021, when the defendant, Stewart, approached his car, shot him in the cheek. Sergeant Lane says despite his injuries, he still chased after the suspect and eventually caught up to him and then shot him in return. Today in court, we heard part of the 911 call Lane made shortly after that moment.
I'm in front of American National University on Dixie Highway. I'm shot in the face. I need an ambulance.
Yes, sir. They're on their way. And what is your name?
Sergeant Chris Lane.
Spell your last name for me, please.
Lane.
What's your code number?
7726.
All right, they're on their way. Do you have the bleeding controlled?
No.
And sensing the urgency there from Sergeant Lane as it was happening. He says the bullet broke his jaw in 3 different places, shattered several of his teeth when it happened. The Commonwealth is asking the jury in this trial to find Stewart guilty, not just of murdering O'Bannon, but shooting Sergeant Lane, endangering another construction worker, and then running away from police. The defense, on the other hand, is asking for a verdict of not guilty, and they're challenging the jury to think whether or not Stewart did any of this intentionally. The trial is expected to continue tomorrow, so we'll likely have our own news crews in there, our reporting team, to get those updates on testimony, anything we hear from the witness stand for sure. Well, tonight, as we go through some more stories, we do have an update on a Wave troubleshooters investigation. A man who'd been sitting in jail for months for a crime he says he did not commit. You might have heard a little bit of us of our beginning parts of what we uncovered in our investigation on Monday night. Michael Anderson was arrested last year in front of his kids the day before Christmas. His attorney, who we sat down to talk to right there with our Brian Schlonsky, she says a warrant claimed that he was the one who shot at a woman in a case of domestic violence and that a shooting was apparently caught on camera. But the victim in that case told police a Michael Anderson shot at her. The problem, according to attorney Sarah Collins, is LMPD arrested the wrong Michael Anderson, and that Collins' client, Michael Anderson, the one who is involved, sat in jail for 5 months. Well, now she's filing a lawsuit on her client's behalf, hoping to hold the department accountable. And we also, for the first time, sharing with you, had our conversation with Anderson today, who says he is now constantly feeling like he has to look over his shoulder.
I am nervous about it happening again, because if they don't fix the procedures that they have and the ways they do things, it could start all over again.
Now, we have reached out to LMPD to ask questions about the case. The department says a professional standards unit, so the PSU case was opened August 12th. LMPD says the department can't make any other public statements until the final disposition on what happened. But they did add the internal investigation is still going on. And additionally, the Civilian Review and Accountability Board met to discuss complaints related to Anderson's case earlier today. We're still waiting to hear the outcome of that particular meeting. I'm going to set up to come back here in to our view in the studio. And shifting from these two cases, of course, a troubleshooters investigation and looking into that, a prior case of the trial. Part of our reporting team also spent some time today looking more into the cost of housing for the Louisville Metro. For a lot of families out there, certainly something very top of mind. Well, today, the Metro Housing Coalition released its 2025 Housing and Utility Affordability Report. And when we talk about the cost of housing, we often talk, sometimes the focus starts with the money we spend on rent and or mortgage. But today's report covers the second biggest cost that is tracked in this is energy and utilities. And so I'll bring up some video and you can get a look at what the report itself looks like. It's a lengthy, in-depth report that covers both energy burdens and water burdens for customers, consumers, clients. Several maps and graphs do paint some more of the picture. These issues drastically impact low and moderate income families, and they often pose more challenges for folks in West Louisville neighborhoods. The report offers a wide range of recommendations to improve water affordability, housing improvements, policy changes. However, the Housing Coalition's executive director tells Wave News that they admit the changes only work if the public utility players involved play ball on negotiations and trying to find those compromises.
We are the community organization working with Louisville Water and with MSD, trying to find real solutions. We aren't aligned all the time, and that's no different than any other community conversation, but you have to bring different ideas and have an open conversation, and that's where we are, and those are through good, strong partnerships like that.
Our researchers also say the communication is timely as more and more people struggle to make those ends meet. The report was also released a few weeks after MSD's 21st consecutive yearly rate increase. LG&E is also going through the legal process it has to make the case to increase their own rates. We've since reached out to both utilities and companies as well as Louisville Water regarding the report. All three tell us there are multiple ways for their ratepayers to get assistance with their bills. What I want to show you here is some more of the video. And the Metropolitan Housing Coalition's report says that when families are dealing with high utility costs, they have to give something else up generally to pay for other needs. Several key findings of the report affect thousands of households. And looking closer here, outside of utility struggles, there were other ripple effects that the team that wrote the study wanted to know. The report finds there's high costs that can have a negative impact on people's health, on how they recover from a potential disaster, if they're trying to, achieve that economic mobility and other struggles that they would then have to endure. And looking at this graphic, because affordable housing was also listed, in fact, as one of a bunch of community priorities for this foundation, the Community Foundation of Southern Indiana, just to distill what the core of what they were reporting or putting in the report is. It's a study that the foundation released. It's a snapshot of needs and opportunities for Clark and Floyd counties specifically. Among the key takeaways were about affordable housing, education, workforce development, youth development for the kids, and basic needs and health. The Community Foundation says they're hoping their organization can help address some of these concerns by targeting resources where they may be needed most. Moving on to some more happening in our community, in our metro area, TARC revealed their new network for Louisville's transit system. It's their final recommendations for the 2025 planning process, and you saw a little bit of the snippet there. But in essence, The new TARC network includes major changes to most bus routes and schedules. It includes where TARC buses go, how often they come by. Downtown transfers are going to be apparently faster and smoother, so says TARC. Thanks to a new time transfer or pulse hub system, it's the first time that TARC is going to be using this in their history running transportation. The changes, though, are going to mean a simpler, more efficient bus network, they say, to offer more frequent service.
It's something that we should have done many, many years ago. If you look at other cities and see how their routes are, they're streamlined, they're out and back, and they do that because you want to offer all that frequency. So I love seeing the frequency. Obviously, we wish we could be bigger, but we're trying to spend every dollar wisely and put on the street what we can afford.
So with all this, even so, no major service changes are planned before August of 2026, so August of next year. And in the coming months, TARC says it's launching an extensive public education campaign to help people learn a little bit more of the new system before it starts in earnest. Speaking of getting around town, there's public transit offers for drivers moving around our community, our metro, the rest of the day and the week. Just a heads up, you're gonna have to watch out for lane closures on the Watterson that do start tonight. So a heads up there. The off ramp to exit 22 near Brownsboro Road, that's gonna be closed starting at. Actually, it just started. In fact, about 15 minutes ago. If you know anybody who is needing to use that route, make sure they're driving safe. But as a heads up, if you didn't already know, this is going to be the impact for you early birds tomorrow. The off-ramp to exit 22 near Brownsboro Road closed until 6 a.m. tomorrow. On I-264 East, there's going to be alternating lane closures within the work zone that's obviously going on. You can't avoid seeing it when you're driving around that part of town. The closures there also start tonight. Well, they'll be closed until 6 a.m. on Thursday, though. So be mindful of trying to move around for the rest of the week until Thursday there. The work is part of the massive highway improvement project that probably, as the projection says, won't be done until the fall of 2027. And now we want to, before we go into the next part of tonight's stream, big update because the manhunt you might have heard about up northern Kentucky crossing from the Ohio River for two escaped inmates, one who was caught pretty early, but the second one who sheriff's deputies, FBI agents had been searching for hours. We're learning a little more after he was caught. This escaped inmate from Ohio on the run for a week, actually captured in Jefferson County just last night. Authorities telling us Jerry Lee Cooper and the other man who was promptly caught, they escaped from their Southern Ohio prisons facility last week. The other inmate called about 12 hours later. Cooper had been on the run for a week before he was taken into custody by federal agents here in Louisville. Cooper was in jail on an attempted murder charge after police say he shot a man in the chest as part of a murder for hire plot.
It was validating that we're using the right partners, the right resources. We had the right support. It was definitely a sigh of relief. Jerry Lee Cooper was a threat to the safety of the Commonwealth, and we've did our best to fix that.
So as a special agent or the agent there, Olivia Olson from the FBI's bureau here in Louisville. Now that he's been arrested, though, Cooper is being held in the Oldham County Detention Center as a federal prisoner, and authorities are currently working to extradite him back to Ohio. Now, the pictures you're seeing here are two other people, Marlana and William Strasbaugh, a couple from Mason County in Kentucky. Well, tonight they're also facing charges. The charges specifically are called hindering prosecution or apprehension and complicity escape. In essence, trying to help allegedly Cooper stay away from federal agents and police as long as he was out there on the run. They may also even face some other federal charges for their alleged role in trying to keep Cooper out of the scent or the path of federal agents who were trying to bring him back to that Ohio prison facility. All right, we're going to reset, do something quick. I'm going to let you all, as we head to commercial break, bringing you out back to the downtown SkyTrack camera. Want to let you all know coming up, hope you stick around 8:21 once we're back. It's an extended conversation I wanted to share with you all. Shout out to Wave News anchor Myra, and sorry, by the way, for sitting down having a lengthy conversation with Crystal Rogers' grandfather, a person who's been involved in the search and the trial process from the very beginning since she disappeared those 10 years ago. Our exclusive time sort of now after both of these criminal trials have wrapped up. And his hope, one, that they could find his granddaughter's body for that semblance of closure, but two, now holding on to some hope that there will be some resolution in the case of his son, Tommy Ballard, if you follow this case closely. And Tommy Ballard, in his search for his daughter, was ultimately murdered, but that case has not been tried or brought to court just yet. So what we're going to share with you after we come back from break is Myra's much more extended, in-depth conversation with Till Ballard. Hope you stick around to hear what Mr. Ballard had to offer. In this Wave News exclusive, by the way, you're only going to get it'll be online, of course, on wave3.com, but this is where we're going to play it first here on Wave News Extra. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, you're going to hear Myra's conversation with Till Ballard as it pertains to the Crystal Rogers case.
Till, first I want to say thank you for talking with us today. I know that this is not easy for you. Tell me how you're doing. How are you doing?
Okay.
Doing okay? Tell me why you wanted to talk today. You've kind of kept quiet for a while, but
Well,
why was it important today?
You know, you've asked me before. I kept turning you down. I said, well, I told Betty, I said, you've asked me so many times, it's time for me to talk to her. And, but, you know, I'm not the only one that feels, you know, to talk. I want to keep Crystal's name out there. And she was a good person, raised 5 children until she got murdered. And every time you'd see her, she had all them kids with her. I don't know why she was murdered. We don't know where she's at. If we could just find her, it'd be a good closure for us. But I hope that one day that Brooks will tell where Crystal's at for his own good and for Eli's and Crystal's other children. But because, you know, Eli hadn't had a mother for 9 years. And it's time, if they could find Crystal and get her rest in peace at a burial place, you know, where they could go visit her grave, you know.
That's important.
But we pray every night that he'll tell where she's at, you know. There were so many people involved in her death. We don't know who done what to her. We just know that she's gone. And the FBI said that Brooks murdered her. But there was other people, the Lawsons, and other people involved in it. So Lawson's involved in moving her car.
During the trial, Till, were you hoping to get more answers as to what happened?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was hoping that Shane Young would ask him, you know, how they killed Crystal and where they took her body, you know. But that didn't come out. Just like Sherry said, she's wondering if Crystal had begged for her life and see her kids, you know. But I don't know why Brooks wanted to get rid of her. You know, she was a good person. She kept his books and everything, got his rent. And I don't know what it was over. Maybe Crystal had seen something or heard something, you know, that he had to get rid of her. But Sherry said she told her a week or so before she got killed that if anything happens to me, Mama, said Brooks done it. Said I got it all wrote down. And Sherry said, I wish I'd asked her what it was, but said she didn't, you know. But then Tommy, he searched. That man searched day and night to find Crystal.
The next big questions all lead to Tommy's case what happened with him and who's behind that.
Right.
What do you hope for that?
Well, I hope they find whoever killed him, you know, and prosecute him. You know, there's people got ideas who done it, but, you know, it's got to be proven, and they got to be 100%, you know. I asked state police not too long ago, I said, will y'all ever make an arrest on Tommy? He said, well, we got to be 100%.
But if you could say anything to Brooks Houck and the Lawsons, what would you say, Till?
Tell us where Crystal is so we can have a proper burial for her and for her children. You know, they owe that. They owe that to the Crystal and their kids. They owe that to them.
Do you think he's ever going to talk?
He don't have nothing to lose. He's already got sentenced to prison for 20 years and plus life in prison. He don't have anything to lose. Maybe it's because of spite. I don't think he liked Sherry for the way Sherry was to, you know, she stood up to him. But he don't have nothing to lose. And if the Lawsons knows, they may not know where Crystal is. Maybe just Brooks and somebody else. But
during the trial, how would you describe Brooks's demeanor during the trial and the sentencing?
He looked straight ahead. We've seen him swallow a couple of times and bat his eyes a couple of times. Just sit there straight ahead. Watched everybody that spoke against him. You know, didn't show no remorse or anything, you know. Sherry sat there and begged him to tell her where Crystal was. And he just sat there looking straight ahead. You know, like, no, you know, I done it and nothing you can do about it. That's what he played that game for 10 years. You know, I done it and nothing nobody can do about it until Steve Carey come along, the FBI, and done all that work day and night to prosecute him. He's the one put the handcuffs on him.
What would you say to the folks that have continued to show their support to you?
Oh, they're great. They're great people here in Bardstown. And I've had people call us from New York, different places, and talk about it. And hopefully, before they found Crystal, before she was, they found her. I mean, before they prosecuted Brooks, everybody. Well, after the sentence, we came back from Bowling Green on Friday. There must have been 300 people around this courthouse up here. Yeah, hollering and cheering and had a lot of pink on.
Did you have any fears or concerns during the trial?
For me?
For what the outcome could be?
Well, yeah, because I'll tell you why. They claim that Butler, is that his name? Brian Butler. He's supposed to be the best lawyer in the state of Kentucky. When he got up there and said, you can't convict without a body or a crime scene, I thought, oh, it's all over. It's all they're going to get out of this. But when Brian Butler sat there, he talked so long. the jury got so aggravated, and half of them went to sleep. Anyway, he kept talking. Anyway, when the jury deliberated, they came back and they wanted to hear, what was that guy's name? Charlie Gertley. They wanted to hear his testimony over. And when they heard that over, I think they put the nail in the coffin. They knew that. And then when they deliberated, we all went out. So they came back with a guilty verdict. Then they had to go back and deliberate how many years, how much time. Then they had some guy from the pro board or something. Anyway, he got up and made a speech. Then after that, when they came out, and you could see on the camera, Brooks was sitting in the middle. This woman was sitting beside of him, and Butler was here, and another lawyer was here. They said, life without prison, boy. Butler just dropped his head.
Eli never knew his mother. He never knew your side of the family.
No.
Tell me about what you would like him to know.
That someday he could come and see us where we could be with him too. Like when he was, when he was 2 years old, he would come to the house and we had a teddy bear and he'd get up and pat his lap. But yeah, I hope he realizes, and I think when he gets older, he'll figure out what happened to his mother. I really do. And of course, Brooks' sister's got full custody of him now, Rhonda, which he needs to stay with them because he's been with them ever since Crystal got murdered. But
do you think he's safe?
Safe? Oh yeah. I think they think the world of him. Yeah. Okay. But like I say, when he gets, when you go to school around them other kids, they're gonna say, "Well, what happened to your mother? Who killed your mom?" and all that. So your daddy killed your mother. So I think that he'll figure it out.
You mentioned, and I don't know if you want to share this, in the past 10 years, you've seen Eli how many times?
I've seen him a couple of times out at Bluegrass Seed where Brooks was in there, and he was all 4 or 5, and I'd shake hands with him. He'd shake my hand. But after that, we didn't get to see him very often until we run into him at Walmart. Yeah. He's a good-looking boy. He's nice. He was nice and polite as he could be.
Mm-hmm. Does he? I know that you probably wish that you would be able to get to know your great-grandson a little bit more, and he would have known his mom and grandfather.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I hope someday he'll come around. When he gets old enough, I think he will.
Till, how do you all carry on day by day?
Well, we work, she works. I mean, she does homework and I build houses. You just gotta keep going on. You can't sit down and just grieve, even though it hurts you. You just gotta keep going. But you never get it off your mind. It's
On who?
Trenton. He was with Tommy when he got killed, this boy. And just like, those, you never get up. You think about it day and night, but there's nothing you can do about it.
What do you think Tommy would have thought of the ending to this?
Oh, he would have loved it. Yeah, Tommy knew all along that Brooks done it, and he would have really been thankful to the FBI and the state police that solved this. But yeah, it's a shame what happened to Tommy. He didn't quit searching day and night.
Do you think that the trio will ever comprehend how much they hurt your family?
I don't think he cares. No. Steve Lawson, he was supposed to got $50,000 to help move her car. Of course, that probably didn't last him very long. But no, I don't think any of them has any remorse. You know, the way they acted. If they did, they told where Crystal was. They'd have told what happened. I don't think any of that family had any remorse. You know.
What's next, do you think, to happen in all of this?
Well, I think they're going to start heavier searching for Tommy's killer. And I think that they're 99% who done it, but they got to have that other 1% because they don't want to get out of the prison. You know, when they arrest them, they want to stay in there. But I think now that everything will focus on Tommy. That don't mean they're going to leave Crystal behind, because everybody's going to wonder where Crystal is.
My last question. Sherry has shown an immense amount of strength and poise throughout this past 10 years. Talk to us about how strong she is.
Oh, I couldn't have done it. I couldn't have done it, raised them kids and stayed strong like that. And I couldn't have done it. She was so faithful to Tommy. She's a strong woman, you know, to raise those children like she did, you know, give them a good home, clothe them, feed them, and took care of them.
Love them.
Oh, Lord, yeah. Sheila, her and Tori got married back in the winter. She get married in spring. Well, yeah. Me and Terry, we'd go round and round.
Where do you find after something like this? Is there happiness? Where do you find happiness?
Well, really, you can't find too much happiness until Crystal's found and Tommy's murder is found. And then it won't be no happiness, really, because it'd be a lot of sadness. It'll be happy because they put them all behind bars, you know. And but far as, you know, they got a place to go visit Tommy's grave, but not Crystal's. You know, that them kids, they deserve to know where their mother is, where they can give her a proper burial. You know, go to her grave, take flowers. You know, but like I say, I don't understand him why he wouldn't tell on Count Eli, his own son. You know, I don't know.
Do you all talk about all of this on a regular basis?
Oh, yeah.
Do you all, or all the time?
Oh, yeah.
All the time?
Yeah. Wonder, yeah. Just that 10 years of hell. They not knowing what happened to Crystal, but knowing that Brooks House had something to do with her disappearance. But you know, it was hard. You know, and I feel so sorry for them kids. You know, Eli was 2 and Trenton was 11, and the girls just a little bit older. Like I said, they had to go to bed every night wondering when Mom was coming home. You know. Yeah, they won't talk about it.
Welcome back in, everyone, to Wave News Extra on this Tuesday, September 23rd, here in the Wave Now studio. Jose Josiah here at the desk. We're going to jump right into more of today's top stories. In fact, today, family, loved ones saying their final goodbyes to longtime Jefferson County Clerk Bobby Holzclaw. We were able to get a peek at the location where her burial mass it happened this morning at Holy Spirit Catholic Church. Holzclaw served the public for more than 2 decades before she died just earlier this month. She was 81 years old. Jefferson County Clerk's offices were closed all day today to honor Holzclaw's career. Mayor Craig Greenberg has yet to, but will appoint someone to serve out the rest of her term. Staying with some context and some impact for the state of Kentucky when it comes to education, the State Department of Education says it's now given a 4-year contract to the College Board so it can do SATs as the state's official college admissions exam. That's starting in spring of 2026, and it will replace the ACT as that testing provider and the ultimate metric for students who would apply to get into the school of their choice. So the contract, as we're looking at reporting, valued at $30 a student, locked in for 4 years. Department leaders arguing it could save Kentucky up to $350,000 a year. High school juniors would take a digital SAT during the school day as part of required state testing. Commissioner of Education Robbie Fletcher saying that this gives students access to powerful tools, free personalized practice through the Khan Academy and the new digital format, which Fletcher says is shorter, adaptive, and designed to be more student-friendly. Officials reporting that the DOE received protests, though, regarding College Board's contract July 14th. After working with the Finance and Administration Cabinet to ensure everything was compliant with procurement laws, investigators, leaders did a thorough review. September 23rd, the cabinet then determined that the protest that was filed had no merit. There was no prejudice, so that was denied and allowed the contract with the College Board to move forward. The SAT accepted by four-year colleges and universities across the U.S. In Kentucky, most public institutions consider SAT scores for admission, including UK, U of L, Eastern Kentucky University, and Western Kentucky University as well. Kentucky previously worked with the ACT as its college admissions exam provider, but worth noting that contract ended June 30th of this year. Coming back into the studio, an update to this investigation of a pretty grisly double murder we first told you about last night. In fact, I was here in studio joined by our Wave News reporter, Logan Perrone, who'd been looking into the alleged suspects' ties to a murder that happened 20 years ago, but it happened in a location, in a part of town we would cover. It happened in Elizabethtown. And we're learning a little bit more about this new unfortunate case. A complaint warrant we reported the suspect in this Round County double homicide, Joshua Cottrell, allegedly stabbed, and I'm going to set up somebody here, allegedly stabbing 37-year-old Kayla Blake and her teen daughter, Kennedy McWhorter, resulting in their deaths. So the warrant detailed that when they arrived, paramedics, emergency personnel found mom and daughter dead. And so that's when the homicide investigation started. KSP detectives reportedly found Blake in a back bedroom, and McWhorter was found across the hall. Both of their bodies found in these different places. And just a heads up, some of the details I might describe here will sound horribly graphic, although I know we're showing pictures of the deceased, and these are very loving pictures that the family wanted to share of both Kayla and her daughter, Kennedy. I'll come back here to the studio just so you get the sense of just these details we're reading off the arrest warrant. The warrant reads, Blake was, quote, appeared to have been stabbed and bludgeoned, and meanwhile, the little girl, Kennedy, also apparently stabbed. The warrant then reading Cottrell allegedly moved their bodies, and noting that neighbors witnessed Cottrell come by the home on September 18th. Law enforcement say they found the suspect with blood on his clothes. According to the document, Cottrell has now been charged with murder and tampering with physical evidence. His bond is set at $1 million cash. What I want to bring back here is a scene video from a crime in 2003 where Cottrell was originally charged with murder, but then the charge that he was convicted for was ultimately manslaughter in a case where detectives found the victim's body in a suitcase, and Cottrell's argument was that the victim, he was afraid the victim was going to rape him in an Elizabethtown motel room. And so that there was a punishment there. He was let go from this for this sentence in July 2019. He's from Moorhead. Police say Cottrell was found at a Paducah hospital around 2 p.m. That he was treated, released, charged with those 2 counts of murder, 1 count of tampering with physical evidence, taken actually to the McCracken County Jail. And so, of course, in the wake of just an awful discovery, awful news to happen to the family and friends of Kayla Blake and her young daughter, a Rowan County mom says she's trying to raise money for young Kennedy's funeral at the middle school. Tributes to their classmate sit outside the softball field entrance. The picture showed she loved to play the sport, a touching sign of appreciation for a player that they've lost, a teammate they have lost. This is an update from reporter Jackson Plank out where this happened.
At Rowan County Middle School, tributes for Kennedy McWhorter sit outside the school's softball field entrance. A touching sign of appreciation for the young softball player who is no longer a part of their team.
I kept hearing stories about what a kind human Kennedy was, and always smiling and laughing. And I wanted to do something not only to help the family, but to honor her.
To do so, Thornsberry, a nurse turned amateur photographer, says she is going to be doing what she calls a mini photo shoot. This week, people can donate what they can in exchange for a 15-minute photo shoot or 5 photos. The Rowan County mother says every dollar will help lessen the burden placed on the family.
Thornsberry says she wants to raise $3,000. She says she won't deny any Rowan County parent who wants to get a picture taken.
We lost a young life and a young mother, and it's really shaken our whole community. It's shaken the school system, our children. I mean, everybody.
Thornsberry says anyone can book an appointment via Facebook. She's offering appointments on Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday of this week at her home. All proceeds will go toward the fund set up at the Malone's Funeral Home in Grayson. Thornsberry says she and the community will never stop fighting for justice.
Children in these schools loved you. Your softball, volleyball teammates loved you. Even though I didn't really know you, I loved you. And what your life was, you mattered.
Reporting in Rowan County, Jackson Plank, WKYT.
Certainly an awful story there. And for any updates, we'll certainly have our team investigate those connecting dots if there are any closer to the Louisville Metro and the counties that we serve. And through our partners that will have those reports, we'll share with you on air and online on wave3.com. And some also updates now crossing over to Indiana. It was a pretty abrupt last-minute move, but Google's apparently withdrawing its proposal to build a pretty huge data center in Indianapolis. So that could have implications, spreading out, of course, from the center of the state of Indiana. The data center was supposed to go in Franklin Township, but that was scrapped minutes before Indianapolis's city county council was set to vote. The rezoning plan with the codename Project Flow would have converted close to 500 acres of farmland into this data center campus. Supporters claim it would bring billions in investment, jobs, tax relief to Franklin Township schools. Critics said the project wouldn't bring enough jobs. It would use up too much power, too much water, and not offer much of a tax benefit. Google's exit, though, now raises some questions about whether other tech giants are going to commit to central Indiana. And you see, of course, the move there coming from Google itself. This is the statement that was sent out by Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett. Quote, I respect their decision to withdraw their rezoning petition. The city remains committed to working alongside business leaders and neighbors to continue attracting new investments that create quality jobs, increase opportunities for construction trade workers, further our economy's growth, and uplift our neighborhood. So a recap of some of the stories and what we're going to do as I let you all know. This is the latest look from our downtown SkyTrack camera, enjoying the skylight lights at 8:48. We're pretty comfortable, 79 degrees from where our temperature gauges are at. We're going to take a quick break to reset for one last quick check-in on the stories we want to share with you tonight on Wave News Extra. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in 2 minutes. Welcome back into tonight's Wave Extra, folks. All right, tickets on sale for Lou City's playoff opener. They're starting their postseason play with a game Saturday, November 1st. No word yet on who they're going to play, nor what time kickoff is going to be. But apparently the club letting fans know they can grab tickets right now, 15% off until 10 a.m. Thursday. Right now, Lou City's holding its top spot as the best team in the league in USL. So certainly something the sports team will likely be keeping tabs of well into this fall season. And from soccer to baseball, robot umpires are getting called up to the big leagues next season. MLB's competition committee approved using what's called the automated ball strike system in 2026. Take a look at that demonstration and just the measurements they're going for. Human plate umpires will still call balls and strikes, but teams can challenge 2 of the calls per game and then get additional appeals and extra innings. Major League Baseball is saying that adding robot umpires will also likely cut down on ejections if players or managers are frustrated with the current ball strike ratio that a home plate umpire might assess in a given situation. Well, October is fast approaching. It's time to think about Halloween, but also for parents out there, maybe the cost of candy's on your mind. The National Retail Federation is expecting Americans are still going to spend a record-breaking amount this Halloween. How much? $13.1 billion. A lot of that money will be spent on candy that is itself getting more expensive. Supply chain experts say a spike in candy prices largely because of some climate-related issues and the ingredients that are coming from other geographies, other climates, landscapes, and obviously the exporting cost to ship those. It'd be chocolate, for example, a lot of caffeine involved as well, too. West Africa, by the way, produces 70% of the world's cocoa, and they have been dealing with some climate-driven declines in their cocoa production. Bringing you back out here for one last story in the Wave Now studio here. I wanted to share that, we're almost to October, the back quarter of the year. We're getting into the fourth quarter. Consumer experts and financial advisors argue it's a pretty good time to check in and make sure you're hitting your financial goals while you're doing this. In tonight's Watching Your Wallet update, consumer investigator Rachel DePompa says there's some steps you can take now to close out 2025 with a financial boost.
NerdWallet found more than a third of Americans set the goal this year to pay off debt or pay it down in 2025. That's a wonderful goal because debt is so stressful and it can be expensive if you have high interest credit card debt. Sarah Rathner, a credit card expert with NerdWallet, says it's probably been several months since you started working toward this goal, so now is the time to check in again.
So take a moment to check in and see where you stand today, because it's going to look different today than it did at the start of this year. Pull up your recent statements for your credit cards and any other loans you have, like a personal loan, car loan, mortgage, and see the total amount you still owe and what your interest rate is, especially with credit cards, because that can fluctuate over time.
Rathner says that way you can see a little snapshot of how much progress you might have made and how much more you still have to go.
You definitely want to celebrate any progress you made toward paying off debt, perhaps not by making a large purchase, but, hang out with a friend who's cheering you on, get a nice cup of coffee, go for a walk, go for a hike, some way to mark the occasion, especially if you've hit certain milestones, because it really is hard to pay off debt.
If you have not made as much progress as you thought you would have made by now, that's okay too. Rathner says, be forgiving of yourself, because a lot of people tell NerdWallet they get off track because of unexpected expenses. It's okay. She says, reset and start again. With this Watching Your Wallet, I'm Rachel DePompa.
A reminder, folks, in this in-between time as we get ready to prepare Wave News at 11 tonight with our reporting team, the storm tracking team looking ahead to the rest of the week. You can always get the latest updates on headlines, breaking news right here on the homepage of wave3.com. Go through the different tabs for the top headlines, different categories of stories. Our digital team works hard, even staying with us late into the night hours to get that information, not just here on the website, but to your phone through push alerts on the Wave News app, on the Wave Weather Now app as well. All great resources for you to have. Good up on 8:56. Appreciate your time, folks. And whether that was connecting through our social media channels on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, or on the Wave Now app for your smart TV, your Roku, Fire, Apple devices. Always appreciate your time. Looking forward to seeing you not just tonight on Wave News at 11, but tomorrow night for the next edition of Wave News Extra at 8:05. We'll see you all then. Until then, take care. Have a good night.